Okay, welcome to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. I'm Scoot. Glad you're with us. This is the Manic Monday recap. There has just been so much going on this past weekend. It continues into today that we just have to do a quick recap. Just reminding you, Scoot on the Air YouTube. I appreciate you being with me. I do hope that you subscribe to our channel. We're going to build this. We're going to have more graphics than just this. I mean, we may even have a set one day and not just sitting here in my apartment. Anyway, this is an extension of my radio show on WWL in New Orleans. And you can find that show on 870 AM, 105.3 FM, or radio.com, wherever you are in the country. Download the app, radio.com. And if you download the app, you will have us wherever you have this, your phone. So much to talk about. Protest over the weekend. Another black suspect was shot and killed. Another black suspect died at the hands of a white police officer. Case is complicated. It's complicated because the man resisted arrest, fought with police physically, and grabbed their gun. I mean, not their gun, their taser gun, and then ran off. But when you're a police officer and a suspect is running away, you can't shoot a guy in the back. So that's going to be talked about for a long time. The protests are going to continue. There's going to be change in this country. Do baby boomers have to die off before there's change? I hope not, because I'm a damn baby boomer. I'd like to see the change now. But the primary protesters are younger people. And I hope that they stick to the values that baby boomers once had. Anyway, more on that as time goes on. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Scoot on the Air, and Instagram, Scoot on the Air. And that's a great way to send me messages and stay in touch. And of course, you can send messages here. I think we're at 372 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 400. Will you help me get to 400? It's free. Subscribe, and we give you an update every time we do something. Look, I'm very passionate about this landmark Supreme Court decision that was made today. A decision long overdue. The Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that gays, lesbians, transgender people, the LGBTQ community is protected from discrimination under the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And I totally agree with this. Gays did not fight the battle that blacks fought to get to this point. But in theory, it was also about discrimination, because you didn't like the way somebody was, or they were different than you. That's the main, they were different. Somebody's different doesn't deserve equal rights. That's bullshit. And so I applaud this decision. 6-3 means that Neil Gorsuch and Chief Justice John Roberts, Neil Gorsuch, just appointed by President Trump. Man, this must have disappointed all the evangelicals, because look what he did. He was appointed by President Trump, and he sided with the liberals on the court and said, yes, gays should have equal rights and should not be discriminated against in the workplace. I'm sure there are a lot of evangelicals pissed off about this, but it was the right decision. 6-3. This is landmark. Until this morning in the state of Louisiana, I'm in New Orleans, in the state of Louisiana, and maybe in your state as well, in many states, you could fire somebody just for being gay. If they were gay, they might be doing a phenomenal job. And if you like found out later that they were gay, you could fire them and there'd be no punishment. How does that sync up with the spirit of America? Firing somebody because they're gay or transgender. That's un-American. But until this morning, you could do that. And you know, the legislature in Louisiana, even after the case in 2003 of Lawrence versus the state of Texas, that was the ruling in 2003 that said that any bans on sodomy are unconstitutional. And I guess a lot of heterosexuals forget that they participate in aspects of what is technically sodomy. So don't be a stupid hypocrite. So what if somebody does something that you don't agree with? So what? So that was the beginning of opening doors for gay rights. And that case of Lawrence versus the state of Texas is really bizarre. And I'll tell you just briefly how that came about. You know why it was challenged? It was challenged because a neighbor in Texas had gay neighbors. And the neighbor didn't like them and didn't approve of their lifestyle. So he peeked in their window one night and they were having sex. He was a peeping Tom. He peeped in their window, saw them having sex. This guy called the police on them on a fake weapons charge. So the police would go over there, catch them in the act, apply the sodomy law. Sodomy was banned in the state of Texas, and the guys were arrested for having sex in the privacy of their bedroom. That is how sick and demented some people are. First of all, the guy lied about the weapons charge. Anyway, they didn't take it. I mean, the guys didn't take it. They challenged it. They challenged their arrest. They challenged the anti-sodomy law, saying unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court ruled in 2003 that is the case. And our state legislature here in Louisiana even went to the trouble of double downing on the law and not rescinding it. Not passing a law that would do away with the anti-sodomy law. As far as I know, the anti-sodomy law is still on the books in Louisiana. But now you can't do a damn thing about it, because the Supreme Court ruling supersedes any stupid thing our legislature will do. And our legislators might try to say that you can still fire somebody for being gay, but it's going to be a waste of taxpayer dollars and a waste of their time because it's unconstitutional. And why fire somebody for something that they do in the privacy of their life? I mean, really, why? I mean, what's the difference between a straight person and a gay person? I mean, what is the difference? You know what the difference is. That's a private thing. And for all the conservatives who are into like right to privacy, for all the conservatives who want the government out of their lives, there are many conservatives who want the government to get involved in the lives of people because of the way they have sex. Being against gay rights defies the foundation of conservative ideology, which is power to the individual and less government. So this Supreme Court ruling, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many, is long overdue and is a very, very positive step. You know, back in, let's see what the date was, 2005, I wrote this book, Get Over the Rainbow. And I wrote this book, Get Over the Rainbow, Why Everyone Should Join the Fight for Gay Rights. And I wrote it under my first and middle name. I point out things about the Constitution, things about the Bible. This book was ahead of its time. This book was published in 2005. And I predicted in this book that by the end of the decade, which would have been 2010, gay marriage would be legal in America. I was wrong. I missed it by 5 years. I go through the Matthew Shepard story. I go through the original gay couples that fought for gay rights. Let me just share with you the final paragraph of this book. If you're a homosexual, I hope that your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is the comfort of knowing that a straight American, which is me, had the passion and the conviction to become a soldier in your battle. But as a heterosexual American, I do have something personally to gain from homosexuals winning the right to marriage and all rights offered other Americans. What I gain is what we all gain: the privilege of living in a nation that is fair to all individuals. Final chapter, Get Over the Rainbow. Probably should write another book. I will sometime. Discrimination against gays and lesbians is wrong. It doesn't mean that you, if you're a Christian, it doesn't mean that you have to accept what they do. But what it does mean is that you cannot use your religious beliefs to discriminate against somebody because of what they do in their privacy of their own home. And so often, the sins that are most criticized are the sins that are not our sins. Well, I don't do that, so that's really a sin. What about all the other stuff that you do? What about all the sins that you commit? What about your friends who are adulterers? What about your friends who you're friends with? You might not like what they do, but you're still friends with them. You don't condemn them like you condemn gays. You don't fight. So people often, I guess there are a few cases where it happens, but people don't get fired because they had an affair with somebody. Oh, but if you're gay, you can be fired. And I'm a straight guy. But like I said at the end of that book, what I gain is I gain the privilege of living in a country where everybody's treated equally. I get accused of being an N lover on my radio show. I get accused of being gay and taking up for the gay community, siding with gays. Do you know what I side with? I side with equality. Whether you're black, gay, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. I fight for equality. And more of us should do that. And I'm for the protesters. I'm not for the violent protesting, but I'm for the protesters. Because something needs to be done. And it seems like those 2 Atlanta police officers were not properly trained to handle a suspect. And because they were incompetent, the recourse was to shoot him in the back. I heard the Reverend Al Sharpton say something today. And I'm not a huge fan of Al Sharpton, and I think there's a lot more that people like Al Sharpton could do for race relations, but they don't because they generally benefit because there is a racial divide. There are too many people on both sides benefiting from the racial divide. But Al Sharpton said something that I thought was a really important thing. He said it's time for Black Lives Matter to start supporting gay rights, the LGBT community, all of that. Because he said a fight for civil rights is a fight for civil rights. Reverend Sharpton, I say, amen to you. It doesn't matter who or what the group. We should be free in America. This country was founded on the concept of equality. I mean, I know we got off to a pretty rough start with the Native Americans. We did. And I know we've had a brutal history. But this country was founded on freedom. And so I think this landmark decision by the Supreme Court is a phenomenal decision. I'm glad it happened. And I know there are people who are against it. I know there have got to be some Trump-supporting evangelicals who are just really pissed off because Neil Gorsuch favored this ruling that the LGBT community is protected by the Civil Rights Act of 1964. As of today, we live in a better country. I'm Scoot. We still have a lot to work on, but we live in a better country as a result of that. Thank you for being with me on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. Join me on Facebook tomorrow morning, Scoot on the Air, live at 9 o'clock, and Instagram tomorrow evening, live at 9 o'clock. All of it is Scoot on the Air. And I hope you do subscribe. Let's try to get to 400. We're at 372 now. We're trying to get to, come on, try to help me get to 400 subscribers. That's our most immediate goal right now. And again, it's free. And maybe one day, this will be big enough to charge people for the subscription. But it just gives you an alert every time we do something. And I hope you enjoy our conversations, and you can always comment. I'm Scoot. Thank you for being with me.